Jujutsu Kaisen, the anime we all know and love, has had some interesting twists within its story. As everyone on the planet knows, the man himself, Satoru Gojo, has finally, and I mean finally, gotten caught. He's now sealed despite all his efforts to keep everyone safe and defeat the villains. Something that in concept makes zero sense, as Gojo is portrayed and very much is the pinnacle of strength at the moment, but with Geto's host, a literal brain, the disaster curses luck out, and the biggest threat to them and basically anyone causing bad in the Jujutsu world is now packed up in a tiny little box. Mechamaru managed to inform Yuji, who got the word out to everyone that Gojo is gone with the insurance he set up, and although the sorcerers got a very much needed upper hand in this whole sorcerers versus curses battle here, the curse spirits have inevitably taken a massive W here, and with Gojo sealed, the primary target for basically everyone except the brain, who obviously has a much grander plan, is after Yuji. It ain't no joke for my guy Yuji at the moment, but ironically, in the most Gege-esque fashion, he makes it out to be that the curse spirit set up a game on who can catch Yuji first. This game was of course made by the demon himself, Mahito, because let's be real, who else is going to come up with something this heinous? And Mahito wants to kill Yuji because he goes against everything he stands for. Choso wants him, and also Nobara packed up because of what happened in season 1 where they destroyed his brothers. And Jogo has an alternative plan, which is to awaken Sukuna, as he believes Sukuna would be a great help in their plans. Yuji and the sorcerers as a whole are definitely not in a good place right now, and along with the disaster curses, we got all these cursed spirits and users coming out of retirement because Gojo is now gone. With Gojo being sealed, the balance of the world has completely shifted, and a lot of the enemies in the Jujutsu world that was once kept in place by Gojo's mere existence is now active and ready to go wreak havoc again. But before we go into Yuji and everyone fighting with the curse users, this man Gege Akutame once again gives Gojo even more aura than what was already displayed to us before. As if he needed to. We just came off Gojo doing some of the most ridiculous feats the story has ever seen before with the 0.2 second domain and stuff, and now upon his sealing he's being propped up even more to be the strongest thing ever. I'm all for the Gojo praise because he's up there as one of my favorites, but it's getting out of hand at this point in the best way possible. The simple birth of the man himself, Satoru Gojo, changed quite literally everything for not just the sorcerers but for the entire Jujutsu world as a whole. The curse spirits that got introduced to us at the end of last week's episode didn't merely just go into hiding once they found out a 6-eyes user was around. They actually tried to pull off an assassination attempt, and that was the moment these guys decided it's over for them and they are cooked if they even try with this mission. And the wildest thing about this interaction isn't that Gojo was just a kid here dressed up like Killua's twin, but because bro gave them a simple glance and that was enough to make them tweak out. I know we get to see her before this scene takes place, but seeing Granny shake like that, panicking like crazy as if Gojo was charging up a purple right in front of her, almost convinced me she was gonna have a heart attack and die right then and there. I could say the same thing for bro on the rooftop. His damn eyeballs was about to pop out of his head. It was that peak. The amount of aura this guy Gojo has is honestly crazy, and of course I've seen this material in the manga, but getting reminded of it in scenes like this one really makes you deep it. I absolutely love how even past his sealing we are still exploring more to Gojo's character and how he completely changed the balance of the Jujutsu world from his birth. And through his sealing we are now seeing the collapse of it all. The Jujutsu world has changed dramatically from this single event, and narrative wise it's really interesting as we get to see how the Jujutsu sorcerers minus Gojo handle a situation of this kind. These lot have a ridiculous amount on their plate and probably more than they can even think to handle, but they each have a role in place that they have to fulfill. Megumi, Yuji, the new character Ino, and of course Nanami, who's serving as the leader at the moment, are all on course with their set missions. This is where stuff kicks off from these two episodes, with the trio of Ino, Yuji and Megumi facing off with the curse users that had something cooking up absolutely nobody expected. Megumi and Yuji split from everyone and go on to face the curse user Awakasa in a 2v1, and this was, at least for me, some of the coolest material in the arc so far. Gojo has had his time to shine. We've seen him cook and become the main character for a minute, but now the spotlight is shining on the future of the Jujutsu sorcerers. And after so many jumpings from the sorcerers, whether it be Todo and Yuji vs Hanami, Yuji and Nanami vs Mahito, Nobara and Yuji vs the death paintings, this duo right here with Megumi and Yuji has got to be the deadliest one so far, and seeing Megumi and Yuji cook like this actually gave me some hope for the future of these sorcerers, which was looking bleak as hell in the last episode. Megumi and Yuji of course go on to face the curse user Awakasa, and I'd be lying if I say this was a tough fight for these lot, but Yuji's display of power and more importantly Megumi's just straight up masterclass against this enemy set off for such a cool 2v1 between these three. Yuji had his moment earlier in the arc with albeit a below average enemy with the grasshopper curse, but that fight had its fair share of cool moments for my boy Yuji as he slammed him down pretty effortlessly, but Megumi hasn't done much yet. In fact, he he hasn't done anything this arc, and this was the first fight that we see him get into. A fight where Megumi Fushiguro made a pretty big statement showing off the potential he has and his crazy skill as a Jujutsu sorcerer now, portraying that sweet development Yuji and more notably Megumi has gotten across the multiple fights we've seen them face off in. To say it simply, Megumi is him now, and the way Awakasa got broken down so quickly despite having a technique that definitely isn't the easiest thing to get a grasp on is pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. The enemy's curse technique inverse, which essentially makes it so all attacks against him are reversed in terms of damage, took Megumi damn near a minute to figure out. Yuji of course was hitting him with his strongest attacks along with Megumi, who although was struggling managed to somewhat keep up with Yuji, and the information from that little scrap along with the effects of his Shikigami helped him figure out Awakasa's strange technique and exactly how to counter it. This is where the GOAT and star of JJK comes in, with Yuji Itadori doing everything he can to take him down. Aside from the numerous punches he always puts up, Yuji also threw a damn car at bro. So this combo of Megumi and Yuji contains possibly the smartest sorcerer in JJK in terms of battle IQ and fighting sense, along with the physical monster that is of course Yuji Itadori. It's a deadly ass combo with raw power and superior intellect, which eventually ended up getting the better of Awakasa here. Megumi and Yuji slam bro with the 1-2s, and Yuji delivered the final blow following the rules of his technique, and he got beat down. That little momentum stop from Yuji at the end was cold, I can't even lie. The fight was sick from jump, with Yuji using wires to bring him down, and of course the final blow at the end. Everything was high paced, and the duo of Megumi and Yuji got its first introduction, and it is deadly to say the least. Megumi breaking down techniques that quickly and even having the ability to somewhat keep up with Yuji, and of course Yuji himself having that much raw power, boils down to a goated sorcerer duo. The duos of Jujutsu Kaisen have always been elite, and this is just another one to add to the books. They slammed Awakasa, but even though they had a masterclass showcase, the episode got completely overshadowed by the GOAT himself. Hoji Fushiguro, or should I say Zenin since that was the name that was called, is back in the flesh and without a moment's notice completely destroyed the boy Ino with possibly the rudest blitz in JJK. Ino reminded me a bit of Yuji. He seemed to be another kind-hearted sorcerer and was another one of Nanami's students, but he was just at the wrong place right here, man. Old lady summoned the only person to give Satoru Gojo himself a run for his money, and from the moment he appeared it was just raps for him. Ski mask got snatched right off his face and he got slapped up more times than I could count. Very peak for him, but at the same time I could only feel excitement as Toji freaking Zenin is back in the story, and this already hell for the Jujutsu sorcerers. I won't speak too much on Toji for now because I want to save my thoughts on him for later episodes, but just know Toji is still that guy. This episode had it all, man. Gojo prop and a deeper look into how he affected the Jujutsu world, Megumi and Yuji's masterclass against the curse user, and Toji Zenin back in the story after far too long in my opinion. All this happened in this episode, coupled with some of the best looking visuals in the entire season. There was so many different styles shown from the animators, and they managed to capture the vibe of each scene damn near perfectly. Everything was dynamic and looked so good, with scenes like Yuji swinging across the building, and even this little sequence right here of Ino scrapping the curse users. It genuinely had no flaws for me, and I can't believe we are getting movie level animation every episode. It's unreal. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up. Thank you for watching me ramble on about Yuji and Megumi going crazy, and subscribe for more videos on Jujutsu and any other anime and manga I end up talking about. Do me a favor and hit that like button for me if you enjoyed, and stay tuned for a dedicated video on my GOAT Toji. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in my next one. Peace.